Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Create Extraordinary Community Building Events Summit. I am delighted to be sharing my next guest with you. This is Anna Wolfman. Anna is the founder and CEO of the Femunify Skill Exchange, where female entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants exchange their services and expertise to help each other build and grow their businesses. Anna spent over 13 years building a successful corporate career in several multi-million-dollar companies, where she managed large teams, led key strategic projects, and was a trusted advisor to many executives. She's taken her years of experience in business growth and strategy operations, people management, and powerful networking, and is now blazing her own trail as an entrepreneur. Today, she leads a collaborative community that helps female entrepreneurs build the businesses of their dreams faster, smarter, together. Anna is also a wife, a mom of two, an avid traveler, big into personal development and wellness, me too, and a lover of coffee, wine, and books. You're a soul sister, Anna. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Kip. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's just a delight. So we're going to talk about creating the right tribe. I want to get into that for sure. But first, I do want to talk to you about this gorgeous platform you've created, the Femunify Skill Exchange. I'm sure when you started your career, I mean, I talked about your corporate career, as so many of us have come to coaching through some other route. You probably didn't set out to do this. So I'm curious to know what your journey was that led you to the decision to create this beautiful platform and sort of how it all works.
Thank you. Yes, definitely was not built overnight. Generally, after having spent about 13 years in the corporate world, I started feeling pretty confined and just felt like I was meant for something bigger, and there was more out there for me, and there was a bigger impact that I was meant to make. So it started with this decision of intentionally moving out of my comfort zone and trying to explore what that looked like for me. And in this exploration stage of, what if I were to do something on my own and start my own business and define my own path, I really didn't know what it is that I wanted to do. And so the very first step was I wanted to get out there and expose myself to what else exists. And so I joined all these different Facebook groups for female entrepreneurs and all these communities, really just to learn and observe, to understand what are people doing out there? How are they serving? What are they offering? What challenges do they have? So that I could hopefully get inspired and get some ideas, both for my own business, but also understand what are the challenges that people have and what problem do I feel compelled to solve? Mm-hmm. And the first realization that I had was it is so challenging to build and grow your own online business. And it's something I completely took for granted, having come from the corporate world, where I always had teams to support me, cross-functional teams. We always had a department to lean on, from accounting and finance and IT and legal and marketing, right? Never had to do everything from soup to nuts on your own. I realized how much there is to running and growing your own business. And the value of being part of a community as well, because it could be so lonely without it. And so the first spark of an idea of creating this community was also just born out of my own need of exploring and entering this online space of entrepreneurship. And that's where the idea came for me, to create a skill exchange community for women, because at the end of the day, we all have our strengths, we all have our zone of genius, we all have something wonderful we could offer in some level of expertise and support. And we also have other things in our business that we need help with. And the idea was to create a community where women exchange and leverage each other's strengths to support one another. It didn't start as a whole beautiful platform, right? That took time to develop too. The first step was really to just create this community and create the space and test it out and see if women are actually coming together to really take advantage of this type of space. And are women actually contributing and sharing their expertise, and then likewise leaning on others to get the help that they need in their business? So I actually started in a very kind of rudimentary way of a Facebook group that was very intentionally designed to stay small. I wanted to cap it at 50 people. We started with an Excel spreadsheet. That was the first iteration of our member directory. It was an Excel spreadsheet that we created on our own, and where we sort of had like a little member profile for each person, and kind of listed like the top services that they offer and the top services that they need, and kind of created a couple tabs with pivot tables to kind of like categorize it, you know, social media managers, graphic designers, all of this fun stuff. But it started very basic, because I'm a very big believer in testing things out first and doing like the minimum that you need to do to put something out on the market, and then evolving as you go. And it wasn't until almost a year and a half after I have tested this out, launched it as a paid membership, that I actually saw that, okay, we've now outgrown the Excel spreadsheet, and we now need a more robust platform that helps to support the members and is just way more user-friendly and allows members to come in, create a wonderful profile that really helps to showcase their strengths, their expertise, all their social media links, websites, everything that they have to offer, gives them a chance to kind of like spice it up and show their personality, but also has a capability to easily search for the expertise that you need, and also search for the help you need for the areas you need help with. And so that was kind of a little bit of like the timeline of evolution, but a lot of it was iterating and growing as our members grew and as we better understood what the members need.
Oh, it's so organic. I love that. And definitely this is the way we're functioning in the new feminine paradigm. It's all about supporting one another, encouraging one another, sharing resources, sharing our skills and abilities. I love it. I'm on the platform myself, full disclosure. I really love it. And it's, what a wonderful thing. I just love this kind of creativity where, I've been talking about finding the right stage for the coaches and entrepreneurs that are joining us on this summit. You've gone out and created it. And I mean, I know you didn't create it from scratch. You used a program, but still it was your vision and you've created it. And now this thing exists where it didn't exist before. So congratulations. And it really falls under the kind of the design model for innovation. And that is, you create a prototype and you test it, and then you get some feedback, make adjustments, put out another, and that's a beautiful way of managing that too. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So obviously it's a platform, as you've said, where women entrepreneurs can share their skills and get help as well. And I think it's important to underscore that, you touched on this earlier. There's so much for us to do as entrepreneurs, as coaches, as business leaders, and we can feel overwhelmed very quickly if we think that we need to do it all by ourselves. And the reality is, the answer is, we don't need to do it ourselves. We can share the gifts and talents we have, and that's what you do. And so it's this beautiful collaborative community. So let's maybe we could talk a little bit now about the benefits of having this community and this collaboration in terms of business growth.
Yes, absolutely. And, collaboration is a broad term, and there are so many different ways to really collaborate with other people. But at the core of kind of what we offer, and where all of this kind of skill exchange started, is we all have our strengths and our areas of need, and we have different forms of currency as well, right? We, in addition to money, which is obviously the most obvious form of currency, we have our time, we have our resources, our expertise, our expertise, which is basically like our know-how, our capabilities, our strengths, right? We have our social currency as well, which is our level of influence, like the email list that we've built, the following that we've built. And really the idea is, how can we leverage all these different strengths and resources and currencies that we have at our disposal to be able to also access the things that we need, right? And that's kind of what it is prefaced on. And so some of the benefits of doing these types of collaborations and, skill exchange in particular is, well, first of all, by offering what you're good at and leveraging your strengths and your expertise, you are not only helping other people, which is wonderful to make an impact and to support other people. You're getting feedback, you're getting testimonials, you're growing your portfolio and your experience, you are also able to grow your network, right? Because you're making new connections, you're building relationships, you're planting a lot of other seeds where you could then get referrals after that, right? Or then somebody says, oh, right, I needed a Facebook ads manager, and like, I know Susie who does that, right? And so you're kind of like growing your reach and your expertise. And then by actually flexing that muscle and putting in some of that sweat equity as well, you're essentially then growing your brand and your authority as well, right? So all of these benefits. And then in exchange, you're getting help in your business too, because you can then access experts, right? It's a value exchange. You're getting value in return as well. So, if you can't necessarily afford, to get a branding strategist right now, or to get a web designer and a web developer right now, you can find creative ways to get help from these experts in things that you don't necessarily have the capacity or have the desire to become an expert in yourself, because it's not efficient or effective to try to do all the things, right? So you can lean on other people's expertise and get the help that you need to move your business along faster as well. And then beyond that, there's so many other magical domino effects that happen when people come together and work together. You could do a lot of other collaborations after as well. You could do joint different marketing efforts, become guests on each other's podcasts, blogging on each other's spaces, share your audiences with one another. Like when you discover other experts, and build this community and network of women that are supporting one another, it's really just magical. And there's a halo effect to that as well. And it's huge, and it creates also a certain level of accountability as well when you're working with other people, inspiration and motivation, because you're always getting new ideas and things like that, and learning from other experts as well. And it's just, honestly, the possibilities are endless with collaborations.
Oh, that's so true. And so I'm curious to know, are there some sort of forms of collaboration? And again, we're keeping this in the context of coaches and entrepreneurs, maybe some multi-level marketing people, anyone who's looking to grow, build and grow a community. Are there certain kinds of collaborations that are maybe more beneficial for business growth than others, do you find? Or is it really more just about what kinds of collaborations suit each individual person and who else might be there to join that person?
Exactly. I think it's all about kind of what you need, really, and what feels right and aligned for you, because I think you don't want to force collaborations either. It needs to feel aligned with, and right for you. And so definitely, like, skill exchanges could be valuable in the sense that it's a really tangible way to get support from another person. So for example, you might be a business coach and you might join forces with a health coach, and you could support one another through a skill exchange where the health coach could get some business coaching and the business coach could get some health coaching. And so that could be a really like tangible way to actually get support from another person. And then there's different types of collaborations in terms of joining forces to share your expertise and share your audiences. So for example, even guest blogging for one another, where you could get exposure to somebody else's audience, and somebody else could benefit by bringing in an expert and therefore enriching the experience and the content that they're giving to their own audience as well, right? So it could be guest podcasting, guest blogging, doing like joint Facebook lives or IG lives or LinkedIn, lives as well, doing like joint forces where you expose each other to each other's audiences, allowing yourself to spread yourself deeper while also providing value to your own audience, right? Freebie exchanges could be a simple way, right? Where you leverage each other's email lists, and you say, hey, maybe this week I share your freebie and lead magnet with my audience, and you share my lead magnet with your audience. Of course, it has to make sense, and it has to be there has to be synergies, and it has to make sense for the target audience. But it could be such an opportunity to open doors and just grow your reach and your impact so much faster. And then you could even do broader collaborations, like participating in summits or bundles where there are multiple contributors that are coming together, and then it's this like beautiful multiplicative effect of, several people that are opening up their audiences and contributing resources. And you create something really unique and rich in terms of lots of different resources, but also exposure to different people's audiences. So really, there are so many different ways. And if you want to get even like more advanced, you could also co-create things together. You could co-create a course. You could co-create a digital product to sell together. When you have, two people that are coming together to sell, to bring in their unique expertise and create a product together that becomes really unique in the market. Like think of an accountant and a lawyer, for example, coming together and kind of like creating some sort of a cool digital product that covers like all the basics for setting up your business. I don't know, just a random example that came to mind, but collaborations could really be so beneficial and just open up doors in ways and to achieve results and outcomes that you just couldn't do on your own.
And two, you touched on this earlier, that it doesn't necessarily have to involve exchanging money, and it doesn't in this kind of a skill exchange. So for anyone who is, feeling a little stretched or doesn't really have the resources to pay for a big marketing campaign or to pay for a lot of copywriting, but it's kind of like the modern day bartering system where I can bring my chickens and trade them for your goat, digitally speaking, whatever the things are that we have. And it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I'm curious, so you've created this platform. You talked about being on Facebook first. Do you, well, full disclosure, I find being on every social media platform can be onerous sometimes. I just find it gets like, oh yeah, I need to put something up on LinkedIn. I haven't done that for a while. Maybe bop into Instagram. Do you feel there's, for those people like me, perhaps, I don't want to spend all my day on social media. Is there a sweet spot for the number of platforms? Do you feel it's okay for some people to maybe be on one or two, or maybe just focus on one? Is it better to spread out on all of them? I mean, do you have a sense of that? Because you're kind of an expert, a specialist in this area. So do you have a sense of that, or is it really individual depending on the person?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on your target audience and where your target audience lives, to be honest, because I think the key is, and this is where it's so important to get that market research and get that feedback and truly understand what is it that your target audience needs and wants, and where are they hanging out, and where is the best way to find them. Because depending on their age group, their interests, their, and where they are spending their time already, are you talking to moms? Are you talking to business owners? Are you talking to pet owners? Like all of this could really depend. And so I think you got to go where your people are at, right? If that's who you're serving. So there isn't like a one answer. But also I always think it is so overwhelming to be on all social medias. And I'm not on all social medias because I find it too overwhelming myself. So I started with Facebook, and that's kind of actually the area where I'm focusing majority of my time at this point, because that's where I've originally found my sort of original base of sort of members. So currently that's where I know my people are hanging out, but I definitely want to expand. And I think it's important to do it in a staggered way too, because if you're trying to kind of hit all social media platforms at once and be everywhere at once, you're just going to spread yourself way too thin. And the reality is that social media, content creation, audience building is just one part of your strategy, right? Like there's so much more to running a business as well. So you have to be mindful not to kind of put all your eggs in like the social media basket, so to speak. So I think it really depends on where your audience is, and also what lights you up and what gets you excited. Like I'll be totally honest and full transparency, Instagram, I've been finding for me has been draining me so much lately, and I cannot keep up with all the algorithm and the reels and the trending music and all the stuff. It is just like, it's too much for me. And so I'm making a conscious effort to say, I'm just not going to show up as much on Instagram. I will repurpose whatever content I may have created in other places to have some storefront so to speak, presence on Instagram, but I'm not actively focusing on growing Instagram as my number one platform right now. And I'm okay with that, because it's just it doesn't feel as aligned for me right now. But the next platform that I want to explore is actually LinkedIn, because I know that it's growing and it focuses on professionals. And in the past, I might have had more of like a corporate association association with it, but I know for sure right now there's a lot more online businesses and entrepreneurs, and kind of a lot more action happening there as well. So for me, that's a logical next step to expand. But it's about starting in one specific place that feels aligned where your people are, and then growing as and expanding beyond that.
Yeah, definitely. That's excellent advice. And what I've noticed is also with LinkedIn, it has shifted a little bit, where even 5 years ago, the kind of content that was there, it's different from what's there now. And so just paying attention to that and noticing how trends change over time, and then adjusting where we show up accordingly is really good advice, I think, as well. So I'm curious to know, because I see you as a kind of visionary, and you've touched on this idea about kind of having a plan for the marketing, for the social media, the platform that one's going to use, really having a plan and making some intentional decisions around where do I want to spend my time. I know, for example, that my demographic clients are not on TikTok. I'm not going to spend any time on TikTok. It would just be wasted effort. And so really knowing that and planning it out. So in terms of planning, I'm curious to know, do you have a 5-year vision now for where you want to take your business and this beautiful platform? Do you want to continue to grow? Are you thinking about shifting a little bit? What's on the horizon for Anna Wolfman?
Honestly, I have such big visions and dreams for Femunify. They're very audacious. It's probably more of like a 5 to 10 year plan if I really have to put it out there. It's almost like even scary to say it out loud, but like I would love for Femunify to almost be like a household name for women that are starting an online business, to know that they have this platform and resource that they could turn to, where they could exchange their expertise, where they could flex their own muscle to find and sort of and get the experience and put their work out there and support other women, and also know that they could lean on it to find help from other experts as well. It's my dream to sort of create a robust platform that I sort of call it as like LinkedIn meet Upwork meet Tinder, where where it's like it's a professional platform where people have a profile, and it's for the focus of finding support in your business and offering services and coaching and consulting services that are available out there to find other experts online. And the Tinder part comes in the sense of like, I'd love it for it to be sophisticated enough to eventually even like recommend people different matches and different opportunities based on where they live, based on their interests, based on the target market that they focus on, based on what you need help with and what I can offer, and where we might be a good match, and the industry that we're serving. So I'd love for it to be kind of sophisticated enough to grow into like a whole a platform. And eventually I'd love to even have like chapters in different cities where people could also connect more locally as well, because I think that's a beautiful thing that sometimes is a bit of a challenge in this online space. It'd be great if we could have like online chapters, or at least like regional chapters, where we could introduce other expertise as well that might be more like location specific, like for example a photographer, a videographer, or things like that. I'd love to do like bigger scale like summits, and host like larger events as well. That's something that I think, because my wheels are always turning. I see this like incredible pool of talent that we're just like growing and growing and incubating, and I'm like, what ways could we really like leverage it to get even more value for all our members? And so like if we could even create like different summits and things like that, where a lot of our experts could come together to support one another, that could be wonderful too. Yeah, those are some of the ideas as well.
I love it. I love it. I love the big picture. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'm more than happy to help. If you want to do a summit sometime, let me know, because it's kind of my jam a little bit, just doing these. I just love them.
Love it. Thank you. I might take you up on it, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm on the platform. I'm on Femunify, so I'm there. We can talk.
Perfect.
So I'm just wondering if you had some advice for our viewers today who are thinking of, anyone who might be thinking about creating her own platform, building it out to attract the right tribe. What advice would you have based on the experiences you've had in growing this and getting to the point where you are today? What advice would you share?
So my biggest advice is first start small, right? Test out your idea. Ideally, if it could be like almost like a free version, and by free, I mean like whether it's not cost intensive for you to invest in a big, in a big platform building development type of thing. So start small where you test out the concept, because what I've seen, unfortunately, I've seen so many people, especially like with memberships and things like that, where they've invested so much time and so much effort creating this like perfect membership portal and experience, and they've built from scratch, like, different like chat capabilities and all this stuff, and they don't have a single member on this platform yet. And so I encourage you to do backwards, right? Get the members first, get the clients first, get the target audience, the beta testers, so that you really understand what it is that you need, what would actually be beneficial for them. Because the last thing you want to do is build something out or get a platform that doesn't actually meet your needs. So, start small, get feedback, get market research, get actual people using it, see how they're interacting, and baby steps to actually get there, right? We all have visions of like the perfect product, and it's wonderful, but if it's gonna stall you and take you months, if not years, to actually put it out there, it's kind of backwards. It would be so much better if you could just test it out first and then iterate. So we started with this platform and we're still iterating. For example, we just recently turned on chat capabilities between members. We didn't have that when we just launched, right? So you can always add different features after, but start with the most like minimum viable product that you need, and make sure that you leverage and include and invite your members and your target audience to be co-creators in this process, because that would ensure that you're really building the thing that they need, and you're really creating the space that they could take the most, that they could take advantage of.
Yeah.
Remember how I started? It was an Excel spreadsheet, right? Like I launched this membership with an Excel spreadsheet. So it's possible to start with something very, very basic. The key is really serving your people in the best way possible. And then as you can add all these other bells and whistles, you will grow into it. Yeah.
That's great advice. And you started on Facebook. I know you talked about that, and you kept it fairly small and intimate. The challenge with Facebook, and that's not to take anything away from what you've done, because it was it is a fantastic model to follow. It's not a platform we own. And I do know several coaches in my network that got shut down, sometimes temporarily, sometimes for good, and didn't really understand why. So there's a little bit of it can be a little bit of an unstable platform, but from what you're doing, which is just growing a network and finding out what people need, there should never be an issue with that. But then you've created this platform that is completely your own. And so it's not going to go away. You won't wake up one morning and find that it's been shut down by an administrator who doesn't like something that somebody's posted there. But, and Facebook is free. So.
For sure. Sorry. And the other thing I would just add to that too is, even when it was just on Facebook and that was kind of it for the community, because it was a very curated, intentionally small community, and because we had our own member directory, all the members kind of submitted some information about their business. And part of it was also their email, because I wanted to make sure that I have a way to contact them and reach out to them and stay in touch with them outside of Facebook. So yes, so even though the community was on Facebook, and it still is, like our community element is still on Facebook, because Facebook is a platform that is built for groups and communities. So it's easier to leverage that. But the key is, I would encourage you to make sure that to your point, you have a plan B, and that you still have, other ways to contact your members and to contact the people that are in your group. And that's where it's really important to capture people's emails and contact information, and have other ways to kind of have that, sort of database of your own people and your own members, so that if something like that happens on Facebook or wherever else that could happen, you have a backup plan. You have all their contact details and information where you could kind of migrate that to.
Yeah, it's really good advice. Really good advice. Anna, this has been wonderful. It's been just so amazing speaking to you and learning about how you think and how you dream. And thank you so much for doing this. And I know you've got a lovely gift for our viewers today. So could you share a little bit about that too, please?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, also, Kit, for the opportunity. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. I've had a blast. Yes, it's the ultimate guide, 7 proven and actionable ways to grow your business faster without breaking the bank. So just sharing some wonderful proven strategies that are really actionable with step-by-step instructions on how you could act on them right away of strategies and tactics that will help you accelerate your business growth.
So generous. Thank you for that. And everybody, there was a link in the email that went out, and also a link just below this video so you can grab that gorgeous gift from Anna. Thank you so much, Anna. As I said, it's just been an absolute delight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm loving being a part of this. And I wish all the attendees that are here all the success in the world. I know that everybody that are tuning in and listening is meant to be here and has got amazing things to put out into the world. And just follow your dreams and take action.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'll see you on Femunify.
See you soon.
Over there.